Hi, and welcome to a new series for Retro Game On called RGO Goes Op Shopping, in brackets, thrifting. Because in Australia, we call thrifting op shopping. Op shopping stands for opportunity shops, otherwise known as charity shops. I do a lot of op shopping, and my nearly 800 large game collection is probably about 80% made out of finds that I found in op shops over the years. So I thought, may as well start documenting the process because it is a little bit fun searching through the wild, seeing what you can find. So I'm going to just get 2 points out of the way before we get going, because I know people are just going to be rushing to the comment section. Point 1, that I'm ripping off LGR thrifts by Lazy Game Reviews. And to that I say, yes, I absolutely am. There's really no way I can do this without showing some sort of inspiration towards that fantastic video series. But what I will say is I did email Clint from LGR and I sort of just asked for his blessing a little bit, and he said it was fine as long as I didn't outrightly rip off things like his logo and his music, which is totally understandable. So if you're watching, Clint, thank you very much, and I will promise to try not rip you off too much. I do want to put my own little RGO spin on things as per usual. The second thing you might be wondering is, what the hell am I wearing on my face? And no, I haven't suddenly, I've actually got pretty good eye vision. These aren't real glasses, that's just see-through plastic that actually needs a bit of a clean. These are creepo glasses. They're creep glasses that film without anyone else knowing they're filming. And they're kind of a failed experiment I bought for this channel. And as opposed to just walking around with my phone, I thought I could wear these on my face and, film things as I find them. But these were very cheap. They were only about $30 on eBay or Amazon or something like that, and they're completely rubbish. So I didn't really end up using them that much, so they can go over there. Yeah, and I kind of feel like I've been put on some sort of list for buying them, because the screenshots on the eBay listing were very... yeah, they weren't good, so I'll just leave it at that. So I just want to point out that most of this was filmed on my Galaxy Pixel 5, which has really great stabilization and in 4K. I will say at the start it was a bit weird for me to just walk around and film with this, but I also found that after a very short while, just no one really seems to give a damn, especially in this world of social media. My plan was, if anyone ever did ask me, I'd just say it's for Instagram or something like that, but yeah, no one cares. So I just want to put those points stressed. This has been filmed over about a 3 or 4 week period. It's been very difficult with the weather and lockdowns and the pandemic, etc., etc. So without further ado, let's go op shopping. Okay, starting ourselves off in Willetton, where there is quite a few op shops down High Street. Let's start with the salvos first and see what we can find. While I've bought plenty of games here in the past, I feel like the current selection has been quite stagnant. There's just, your usual Wii Fits, iToys, FIFAs. Surprised there's no Sims though. However, Uncharted Drake's Fortune is a great game, but naturally I already own that. I did find this PS4 vertical stand, but I don't really have an immediate use for it, and I don't know, $12 just seemed a bit steep, although I'm not sure how much they go for normally. There was this cool record player, but I'm really not in the market for one. I already own one, and for $350, yeah, not exactly going to buy it on impulse. Also on the portable musical spectrum was this portable Yamaha keyboard, which I thought was much more reasonably priced at $60 considering it comes boxed, but I do not know how to play keyboard. Also above that was this also cool typewriter, but again, don't have a use for it, just thought it was cool, but $90 boxed, yeah, not exactly going to impulse buy this either. So leaving salvos empty-handed, we continued our adventure. I ended up in a independent name store, which I unfortunately can't remember the name of. There were some cool games in there, but nothing I already owned. I did, however, find this really awesome $9 Minolta, which I was absolutely going to buy, but since I still had a few op shops to go to and I didn't have my car, I decided to come back. I honestly didn't think it would sell. And honestly, I was only gone for about 10 minutes and I came back and gone. In that time, someone had already bought it. You gotta be quick in this game. So that was disappointing, but let's check out this Save the Children op shop, which I'm always a fan of because they always sell things at set prices. Unfortunately, there was nothing here for me today either, just a bunch of DVDs and CDs that no one cares about. But I do appreciate that they sell electronics goods. But again, nothing here for me today. Pretty cool seeing a pizza oven though. Now checking out a good Sammy's, and just like the Salvos down the road, this has had a very stagnant game collection. I cleared this place out a very long time ago and the same titles have stayed here ever since. There are some cool games in there, but nothing I don't already have. I was somewhat intrigued by this portable TV, but I honestly have no use for it, especially since it's black and white and doesn't have any video inputs. But I'm sure someone will pick that up. I did find this off-market Genesis controller, but I'm really in no need for more controllers at the moment. Strangely enough, it said Blockbuster on the back of it. Not really sure what's going on there. There's also this pretty grimy looking aftermarket PS1 controller too. That can go back in the basket. I was starting to lose hope in finding anything on this day of searching until I found this, a $5 Kodak. I love collecting these, even if they do just sit on the shelf most of the time, but for $5, that's coming home with me. Does need a bit of a clean, but it's certainly an awesome display piece. Alright, onto a different Salvos now, this time in Morley, and I was particularly excited by this one because not too long ago I found a massive PlayStation 1 haul here. All of these are about $3 each, and there's a lot of classic games in here like Crash Team Racing, Spec Ops, Crash Bandicoot 3, Rayman 2, maybe not Animal Snap, but yeah. For that reason alone, I was psyched to go back into here, but no, this place was packed. And for that reason, I was afraid to continue filming on my phone because there was just so many people in there. And because there were so many people, I knew there was no chance I was going to find anything. And that's exactly what happened. But I do want to take this chance just to show you what those filming glasses look like. And as you can see, the footage is very poor. It is advertised as 1080p, and while it may technically be that as far as pixels go, as you can see it just looks garbage and there's no sort of stabilization whatsoever. And since it's quite literally strapped to my head, it just made me sick to watch, so I won't show you too much of it. But here, as you can see, I went straight to the game section and the place was completely crowded with other people picking what was left. And yeah, there was nothing there worth getting. So moving on. So after that, I went into a Vinnie's that was down the road, and as per usual with this exact location, I found absolutely nothing. I've been coming to this place for nearly 10 years and I don't think I've ever found a game here. Moving on. So onto a different part of Morley now, there is quite a few op shops concentrated over on this side, as well as a really great burger place called Varsity Burger, which I can highly recommend. Anyway, I've had a lot of luck with this good Sammy's in the past. Let's see what we can find. Onwards and straight to the gaming section, and yeah, full of nothing but PC shareware, which I have absolutely zero interest in. I did, however, find this second gen PS3, and it was only $40, coming with an aftermarket controller. Not something that I need, I've already owned enough PS3s, but that will be a great buy for whoever finds it. Snipped Microsoft mouse, anyone? At this point I was still wearing those creepy recording glasses, and I walked right past another gentleman shopper who gave me a look which is the exact same look I would give someone if I saw them wearing these glasses, knowing what they actually are. So yeah, sorry for recording you, mate, you didn't seem very impressed. Because at this point I took off the glasses and did not put them back on. Oh yeah, this is getting ridiculous. Alright, onto a Angela Care to see what we can find, and this place was also quite packed full of people. And again, the game selection was very poor. There's just some DS games that no one cares about, as well as some PS2 games that no one cares about. Moving on. So no luck here today, but I should point out that quite recently I did find a box Super Nintendo here. So yeah, I do have luck in Morley, it's just a shame that I wasn't filming it at the time. To switch things up a bit, I decided to check out the Swan Settlers Markets, which is in the famous Western Australian Swan Valley, and has quite a few different things in it, including a man playing piano. But most notably, a big vintage shop. I've had luck here before, buying that Pong console which I made a video about last year. There was, quite frankly, an overwhelming amount of stuff in here, but it was super fun to search for. There was definitely a surplus of radios and old toys, a lot of it that annoyingly had no price on it, and no one around to ask how much they cost. So as much as I was tempted by some of this stuff, I just decided to let it go. Eventually I did come across this big crate of games, but sadly it was mostly full of children's titles, which I'm not too interested in. Annika did find this Neopets game, however. So searching, oh, and eventually I found this. This is right up my alley. It's a 1980s calculator with a printer built into it. It is a bit dirty and could do with a bit of TLC, but for $10, that's coming home with me. Alright, on to more op shops now, and here we have a bunch in Belmont. And I was here first thing in the morning. I quite literally had to wait for them to open the door to let me in, so I was a bit more hopeful. And on the horizon, I thought I saw what was a big pile of PS1 games, which of course made me quite excited. But unfortunately they were all pirated copies, not legits. That's a shame. On to yet again another good Sammy's, and I must say this place is looking very sparse. This is also another op shop I've been coming to for many years, and I don't think I've ever seen it this empty. It has to be because of the pandemic. Regardless, there is a lot of DVDs that no one cares about. And of course, some Sims games. Buckle yourselves in, you're about to see a lot of these. I do want to point this out though, if you're into vintage computing, having one of these old early LCD monitors is very worth picking up right now. They're incredibly affordable. They're super convenient for DOS, especially because of the weird resolutions they can sometimes output. Quickly now into another Save the Children, and yeah, this one's mostly a clothes shop, so I wasn't expecting to find anything, but it was completely void of any games except for these two, which, well, pretty cheap I guess, I have no interest in whatsoever. Into yet another Salvos I have had quite a bit of luck with in the past, although it is quite expensive. They do tend to check online pricing here. In the cabinet there was a bunch of DS games I had absolutely zero interest in, along with some newer games which, while there are some stuff there I did like, I'd bought it when it came out, but there should be some good stuff in there for someone else to pick it up if they haven't played these games yet. I also found this PS Slim without a controller for $50. Yeah, nah, tell them they're dreaming. But again, at the top we do have some older LCDs. These probably are a little bit too new, but even the older ones go for these sort of prices. Into a cash converters now, just because it just happens to be next door, and there is a lot of games here, but as you can imagine, everything is sold at market price. Not exactly what we're on this journey for. There was at one stage a pretty good collection of PS1 games, but like with all PS1 games and me in the same spot, I absolutely pilfered them. So I really only have myself to blame for the dregs being left. I will just take this second to point out that it is a great time to buy PSP games right now. They're sort of at that point right now where they're not retro, but they're old enough that no one really cares about them. So if you love the PSP, it is a great time to expand your collection affordably. Alright, now off to Cannington for a different set of op shops, and I found myself in a Save the Children that probably had the most extraordinary collection of PC shareware I've ever seen. Yeah, nah. Into a particularly large Salvos store now, which I have had quite a luck with on a range of different things, including furniture in the past. But yeah, just like that good Sammy's, this place was looking incredibly sparse compared to years previously. And as for the games, yeah, this is, as you can probably imagine, I found a FIFA, which I didn't buy, and not really much of anything else. Moving on, into another Vinnie's now, and I got excited because I saw a big basket of games at the counter. And yeah, it was all The Sims and shareware. And again at the good Sammy's next door, The Sims and shareware. Who would have guessed? So I was starting to get a little bit impatient at this point. I was really having no luck, but let's see what the stonemasons have for me. And there's actually quite a lot of cool stuff in this shop, like some vintage board games, as well as these old Sony cassettes. And below that, a SVHS cassette adapter. I don't think I've ever seen one of those before. Again, this place was looking a bit unlucky when all I could find initially were some Wii's for $50, but I went around the corner and found a very small games collection. At first I saw some good games, but they were games I already had. But then I looked below and whoa, what is this? It's an Accolade big box PC game, and it's only $60. Not only that, it's a double pack, comes with 2 games. Yeah, definitely picking this up. A quick check just to make sure everything was there, and everything was pristine. Wow, felt good. Considering this was the first game I had found after all these op shops, I was feeling pretty good. Onwards now to a massive collection of op shops in the Kelmscott Armidale area. I don't live anywhere near here, but I saw this while working once and just had to check it out. There's a bunch of small op shops in small concentration all next to each other. This clip here doesn't even show them all. So because they're independent, the prices are pretty good. Man, this waterproof case for a camera certainly has seen some shit. So to begin with, I did find some old software that I wasn't really that interested in, and then some really high fashion. But whoa, is that something else I might buy? Indeed it is. Flight Sim 98 big box for only $5. Yep, you're coming home with me, buddy. I also found this pretty cool Yamaha organ, although it smelt kinda bad. So with a bit of extra kick added to my step, I went and checked out a few more stores. And it wasn't that long until I found something else. I didn't pick up this early version of Counter-Strike, but I thought it was cool as I've never seen a physical copy before. But right next to it, we have a medium-sized cardboard box of the original Far Cry, and for some reason it's the Taiwanese version, but that doesn't matter. For $5, you're also coming home. This next shop also seemed to have a bit of potential since it was advertising cheap games, but all I was able to find was this empty package of free space too. That's a shame. This Rayman collection will definitely be a good buy for someone, but I'm not really one to get compilations myself, but it was still cool to see for such a cheap price. And I would really love to know what this remote belonged to, but I couldn't find it anywhere else in the store. Oh well. So unfortunately that was the end of my finds for the day, but searching through all these independent op shops, I did find lots of just wacky and interesting things to look at. Not exactly items I would buy myself, but it was just fun looking at them anyway. Here's some very basic CAD software I loved using when I was a kid, and naturally, it was covered in more Sims. And with that, we called it a day. It was time for a well-earned pint and pub lunch. And with that, here's my final haul. Very small as you can see, but it was a load of fun to find them, so I don't really have any regrets. As for this calculator, I couldn't quite get it to work properly. It did fire up and the printer was trying to print stuff, but none of the buttons worked. Opening up on further inspection, battery had leaked all over the contact pads for the buttons, and when I tried to clean it off with vinegar, they just disintegrated. So yeah, don't think I'll be using this calculator anytime soon. But regardless, it kinda doesn't matter since I just wanted it as a display piece anyway. And as for the camera, I actually already knew that this line of Kodaks don't use 35mm film, so it's gonna be very hard to ever actually use it as a camera. But having said that, it was only ever intended as a display piece to go along with our millions of other cameras. And for $5, I certainly can't complain. So that's been it. Thank you so much for watching, and if you really enjoyed this, please let me know. If there are things you want me to change, please let me know. If you just want to say anything at all, just let me know. Thank you so much again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.